So now Shaytan has created this. Now Shaytan wants to do what? See, the pattern is the same. The pattern is a person on top, he's going to release Dajjal, right? They're in nearness to him according to the level of fitna. The Prophet said, well, we know the fitna of Dajjal, it's a big fitna. And he will release Dajjal and there's another aspect to this that Muhammad Iqbal mentions in his Iblis ki Majlis Shura. That is that he knows his time is running out too. And so he's going to take his biggest, trick at the end, where he wants to go to hell with as many human beings as possible. Okay, but the other thing he wants to do, and he has been doing over and over, why do you think it is? From one culture to another culture to another culture to another culture, what happens? The same basic things happen. They're worshipping idols, they're worshipping idols, they're worshipping idols, they're worshipping. Why? Because you see, the Hinduism, the idol worshippers, the modern Hindus in India, they're a good example of what happens. He creates many gods, and he makes them, remember, he's jealous of what happens in the heavens. So and a very, very important point I'm about to mention, okay? There's a divine sunnah. There is a divine sunnah. There is a very important divine sunnah. إِلَّا إِبَادَكَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا إِبَادَكَ مُخْلَصِينَ. Except Shaytan has dominion over the ones on earth. Shaytan, Allah gave permission to the shayateen to have control through suggestions, through different ways, to seduction, through whispering. Shaytan has power over human beings, and that is really manifested. For Shaytan, it's very difficult to separate two people that love each other. To do that, right, is to go against themselves at a very, very deep level, right? For Shaytan to convince what two human beings in their fitrah and their understanding know of two people, that they can get along, they love each other, they like each other, they can resolve the issues themselves. But Shaytan, despite that, has now the power. If Shaytan masters how to divide the husband and the wife, right, through seduction and making other people more attractive, grass is greener on the other side. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put a rule, and the rule is that shayateen the devil, Iblis, has been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the permission to control even human beings to the degree of suggestions. He has the permission from Allah to try to lead human beings astray. He has the permission from Allah to make false promises and give us false hopes despite what is obvious, right? And to believe in these false hopes despite what is obvious. Now, that Shaytan wants the hierarchy, okay? He wants to be on the top, and then he wants a world where the rules are completely against Sharia, completely against the divine laws, completely against the divine will, so that he can then say to Allah, see, I led them astray. Okay? And then, you see, his relationship with Dajjal comes here, because when Shaytan went from one civilization to another civilization, one time to another time, he would bring them back to worshipping idols. There are other reasons too, which I won't go into, because one of the ways that Shaytan can communicate with human beings easily, okay, is through an object. Okay, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullah alayhi mentions this, that how do you know if you're hearing something from the angels or from the shayateen? One of the ways is that if you're hearing a voice from an object, okay, this leads us to more issues which I'm not going to go into right now. But if you hear a voice and you can't tell where it is coming from, it has no direction, okay, and it has no physical place as such, and then it is if it doesn't have direction or physical place, then it is from the other world. And if it has a certain locale, has certain place, then it is the shayateen. Okay, just leave that at this point, because I don't want to go into more details. Okay, but I was only mentioning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed Shaytan this control. Okay, and he wants to do from one civilization to another civilization. He tries to do the same sins, tries to get human beings to do what the people of Lut did, or what the people of Fir'aun did, or what the people of Saleh did, and tries to get them to worship in the same way, to worship him, to pray to him. Okay, because when you're praying to an idol, you're praying to him, right? And so this is now Shaytan's biggest trick is Dajjal. Okay, because there's certain things Dajjal is willing to do and will do that Shaytan will not do. Okay, one of the things that Shaytan will not do is to claim to be God. One of the things that Shaytan will not do is to fight in a battle against Isa alayhi salatu wassalam. You know this in the battle of Badr, right? In Surah Al-An'am, what happens when the mega Fir'aun Abu Jahl was there against the Prophet in the battle of Badr? What happened? The mega Fir'aun, he saw the Prophet, and the Shayateen, the Shaytan saw the Prophet, and the mega Fir'aun was needed. You see? Because when the Shaytan saw the Prophet and his army, they said, what? We're going now. We've done our job, we have to go. There are certain things Shayateen cannot do, they cannot withstand. Okay? And to do that, to fight against the truth at a certain level, the Shaytan can't do it. He needs someone else to do it. And from the beginning of time, Shaytan knew, just like he knew there will be ila yawmi yub'athun, till the day of judgment. Allah give me time, and Allah gave him time to lead people astray. Shaytan had his bag of tricks. He knew the big jinns and the small jinns, and he knew the jinns who had fought against the angels before, and he knew which of the jinns to use for his biggest bag of tricks. Okay, and so Shaytan has his throne on the water, and islands, as you know, Dajjal is on an island. How? What did I say? ما لا يرى لا يكيفه. What we don't see, we don't know its condition. But Sheikh Imran Hussein is correct that the island of Britain is the island from where all these big fitnas have come from. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Whether it was the banking system, whether it was feminism, whether it was the one eye of scientism that sees the material world and doesn't see God, whether it was the establishment of the Israeli state, whether you take all of the big fitnas, it is around this area. Okay, that could include Scotland and England and all of this, that where all these fitnas came from. Now, having said this, so Shaytan has been, and the prophets of Allah, they have warned their people. Every one of them has told of the good news of the coming of Prophet Muhammad, and every one of them has warned their people of the big fitna of Dajjal. Okay, this is going to be a big fitna, and we're getting into it, and we have not even seen the tip of the iceberg yet. We're beginning to just see signs right now. Okay, and so he gets them to do the same sins: alcohol, divorce, and not that divorce is always a sin, but in many cases it is, and in many cases it's not. But it's the same pattern. It is the idea of control of human beings. And now, when the foot soldiers have brought the human beings to a certain point, now when you release your big jinn, when you release your big Dajjal, when you release your big deception, and you play out the ultimate drama of what is in the heavens,